Yo, my name is Tim, and if you're a remote closer, I think this video is going to really help you because I was getting cooked by objections back in 2023. This is just over a year ago. I was a closer. I was getting absolutely destroyed by objections. I was on an offer that was an appointment setting biz op where we would help 9 to 5ers leave their job and go to become an appointment setter and make, 3, 5K per month, maybe even be a closer at times, depending on the offer we were selling. And I was getting destroyed by objections. Like I was getting destroyed. And there's a lot of closers that I see in the industry right now who want to make more money. You're in sales. You were sold the dream of remote sales. Get into remote sales. Gotten some offer. You have calls coming through. Maybe it's a good offer. Maybe it's not. But either way, you're getting cooked. I know because I was getting cooked. I was getting destroyed. 10% close rate for me, getting 1K, 2K, if that, in commissions. Horrible. I had no opportunities and I was just getting absolutely beaten down. And the problem was objections. People kept saying, I want to think about it. And I was having all these nice conversations and I was hoping I'd follow up with people, book a second call. And there were all these like hopes and promises on the calls. Okay, we'll talk soon. We'll catch up. Thanks for connecting. But no one would buy. So if you're a closer and if you're experiencing this, I'm going to explain to you 5 ways that you can learn objections rapidly, the way I did. I really mastered objection handling in a rapid period of time, leading to me closing, going from terrible, by the way, I was a horrible closer, to within 2 months I became really good. Like I went from terrible to like very good. And I'll explain how I did that and how you can do it too. Ended up closing over 1.2 million in sales over a very short amount of time, around a year, give or take. Got paid 10, 15K plus every month in commissions consecutively. My highest month was 18K. And ended up selling very sophisticated, knowledgeable, high quality buyers on $10,000, $15,000 dating mindset services and coaching packages. That's what I ended up doing. So I'm going to explain to you how you can do the same, how you can get really good the way that I did. So the first thing you have to understand when it comes to objection handling is detachment. Detachment is actually the most important thing when it comes to objections. I mean, everything I'm going to go with you here is important. There's 5 principles we're going to cover today. They're all important, but detachment is something that is extraordinarily important. It's the first point in my notes. You can't be worried about getting uncomfortable when it comes to handling objections when it comes to this game. You can't be worried about getting uncomfortable. If you are worried about the discomfort of what someone will think if I don't let them just walk away. You have a good conversation with someone, the conversation feels good, you feel like you're doing your job, but you're not actually doing your job. Your job in sales is to help someone make a change and get a result, whether it's a business you're helping, whether it's you're helping someone lose weight, whether you're helping someone make more money online, whether you're helping someone, find freedom in their relationships, whatever the business opportunity, whatever it is, whether you're helping an agency get more leads, right? Maybe you're helping real estate agents get more leads. That person's coming onto the call with a problem. Okay. And if you guys have a solution for that problem, if you and the company that you work with have a solution, and that person has the ability to invest in that solution, not saying they're excited about it, not saying there isn't some fear, but they have the ability to invest in that solution, it's absolutely your responsibility. This is how I see it. It's your responsibility to do everything in your power, everything you can do within ethical means to make sure that they leave that call having made a decision that's going to put them in a better position in their future. And oftentimes, that decision tends to be, if the company you're working with is doing what they're supposed to, it tends to be starting and investing in the work, getting started, making changes, making a bunch of money, losing the weight, whatever that would be. So, if you have an attachment to having a nice conversation, what's going to happen is you're going to be sabotaging yourself from handling objections and from helping people, from helping your prospects, because you're going to be worried about getting uncomfortable. Handling objections is uncomfortable. It's not comfortable handling objections. There's a lot of tension involved in it. There's a lot of real shit that happens when you handle objections, uncomfortable conversations. And what I've seen with a lot of closers, people that I train, people I have trained, is that their ego oftentimes prevents them from handling objections correctly because they're so obsessed with, I have to be liked, right? I have to have a good conversation. I can't burn this. I want to end my call on a high. Burn is also a very relative word. Like, what does that even mean? But I don't want to burn this. I want to end my conversation on a high. I want to be a good, ethical salesperson. So they tend to rationalize in their own head, I'm not going to go into an uncomfortable conversation. Objection handling doesn't mean beating someone over the head trying to rip their money away. All objection handling is, the way I see it, is doing everything in your power to truly help the person, and then using tools in terms of communication, in terms of leadership, in terms of how you communicate with someone, using these communication leadership tools to get them to make a buying decision that will help them in the end. That's what the goal of objection handling is. So well, the first thing that I learned, the first thing that helped me get good at objection handling wasn't learning a bunch of lines. I mean, the scripting and the lines definitely helped. Yes, that's a huge part of it. That's why I said all of this is important, because we're going to get into that in this video. All of it's important. But the first thing was this level of detachment. I had to train myself to be detached from wanting the approval of the other person. Because when I would get on these calls and I was selling these like 55-year-old dudes that were like lawyers who'd been divorced, had made, or lawyers, finance guys who had made a bunch of money and were like, had a bunch of ego, and they would tell me, hey, I want to think about it before investing in this coaching and this training. And I would have to sit in the pocket of discomfort with these guys and handle their objections. The only way that I could actually do that was by being detached and not actually caring about what they thought anymore. I had to let go of like, what will this person think about me if I get uncomfortable with them? And this is again what prevents many sales pros from having success. You're too busy thinking, what does this other person think about me? What does this person think about me in terms of how I communicate, in terms of what I'm bringing to the table, in terms of what I'm trying to get from them or get something from them? But it can't be this level of attachment, because if you're attached to what they think, that's just your ego, by the way. It's your ego wanting to appear to be someone who is cool, who is normal, who is chill, and your ego then prevents you from stepping into responsibility, which is a point we're going to look at later. So you have to let go of the ego and have an attachment where you actually don't care what the person thinks. You just care about the end result of helping them and seeing a future for them that they may not be able to see themselves. The second thing that helped me and that changed everything for me was my tone. So one of the things that we teach in objection handling is you have to be able to diffuse. Because when someone says, let's pretend, I'll use let's use a ecomm offer. Let's say you help people build ecomm businesses, okay? And you help people who already have businesses add another ecomm business, let's say. Okay, and you get someone who's like, okay, this business model sounds really good. I like it, like what you guys are doing here. Sounds interesting. I'm gonna take some time and think about it the way that I always do. Okay, the first step, what we always need to do is we need to say, yeah, it's not an issue, no worries, take the time you need. One thing I've seen with a lot of sales pros is they diffuse the objection. They try to diffuse objections, like, yeah, it's not a problem. But you can hear in their voice that they're actually very emotionally affected by the person not just rolling over. You can literally hear it in their voices. Maybe this is you. If you've been getting problems on objections and you're running into walls, there's a good chance you're doing this, right? So what happens is, in objection handling, because it is a sensitive conversation and because you are going into a sensitive space with someone, it's very, very important that you place yourself in the best possible position to have a conversation with the prospect without them pushing back at you. What I don't want to do is trigger their ego or trigger their defenses, in the negative part at least, in such a way that causes them to push back and clam up. Because once they clam up, if they push back at me, then I won't be able to help them. There's going to be no room for me to kind of penetrate those emotional walls that they put up, or those fears. There's going to be no way for me to penetrate that and move them forward into a buying decision. So what I want to do when it comes to objection handling is I have to be as authentic as possible in my tone. And by the way, this doesn't just start when you're handling objections. It happens earlier when you're asking questions in discovery. So as an example, if you were to go into desire, or some people call it future, where you talk about where do you really want to be, let's use ecomm again. You're like, so John, I'm just curious. This is a bad tone. So John, just curious, when we put you in the position where you have that success and that freedom, what does that do for you personally? Crap. There's no weight behind it. There's no authenticity. There's no depth. The better way would be, so John, like, I'm just curious, when we put you in a position where you are making, let's say 10, 15K per month with the ecom biz, beyond just the numbers coming into the account, because those are just numbers at the end of the day. They're important, but they're just numbers. What does it really do for you, like, personally, being in that position in your life? Tell me about that. To hear that, how inquisitive my tone is. So that's established early in the call. In objections, it becomes even more important, because when you diffuse, if you're like, I hear a lot of sales pros, the person says, I want to think about it. They're like, okay, yeah, it's not a problem. I'm just curious, do you feel like we can help? No, I want to sell the not a problem, because the not a problem is a part of me diffusing the objection. It's extremely important. So how it'll sound would be, yeah, no, not an issue at all. Take the time you need. Just curious, like, based on what we went through and everything we just went over here, do you feel like we can even help? To hear my tone, to hear how I'm selling that very, very authentic, it's not a problem, take the time you need, it's no big deal, it's all good, we've seen this before, not an issue, I could expect you to want to take time. That's what I'm selling in my voice, that's what I'm selling in my communication. So when you're handling objections, through that tone is super important. It's something that I train our people on a lot, which is like, when you're delivering, let's say, an analogy, you're telling someone something about, let's say, the past, and you're like, have you ever driven a car before? And you had to learn how to do it for the first time, or not. Maybe it's fear of self, like doing something for the first time, and you use an analogy about a car. Have you ever done something for the first time? That analogy, the way you deliver that analogy, has to come from the right tone, right? So the tone could be, a poor tone would be, have you ever driven a car before? You're like, yeah, well, it's kind of like this, doing it for the first time. I'm sure you were nervous. No, that's crap. You're just breezing through it. In objection handling, I want my tone to sell the the true nature, the authenticity of what I'm saying. I'm not doing it as a gimmick. I'm doing it to actually help them, right? So I need to sell that when I deliver it. How would that sound? Let me ask you this, John. It's an interesting kind of idea here. Um, you ever driven a car for the first time? You ever got behind the wheel? I don't know, how old were you? 16, 17 when you drove a car for the first time? The guy tells me, you see how I'm preparing him to open up, have a little smile. I'm taking some time and I'm sitting with the thought. I'm not just running through it quickly. The reason I'm doing this is because authenticity will allow the prospect to open up and to engage with you from a place of genuine surrender to your process. And it's not that what I need from them is to jump in and say yes. I don't need any of that. I don't care about that. But my tone has to sell this idea. Remember, if you take anything from this call, remember it. Or from this, not call, this video, remember this. Your tone has to sell the idea of, I'm here to help. I'm here acting as a vehicle. I'm here as a vehicle to try to get you to where you need to be. And all I'm here to do is to help. So objection handling is not combative. And the third part of this, the third thing that I realized that helped make change in my life to allow me to make more money to handle objections at a high level is responsibility. And that follows tone. It's me who holds the keys. When you realize that you are the person who's in charge of the sales call, when you realize that you're the person who essentially holds the keys to the prospect's future and to where they want to be. Someone says, I want to lose the weight. Someone says, I want to have more dating partners. Someone says, I want to, I want to get better at sales, whatever our offer, right? Whatever it is. You have to realize that in that space, that moment between you and the prospect, that's a sacred moment where the prospect is accepting, where the prospect is owning and surrendering to this site, or they may not, but it's your job to take that responsibility. This is a sacred space of like, I'm here to help you. And following and embodying that responsibility from the beginning of the call, which is kind of easy, okay, it's my sales call, I'm going to run through some questions. That's easy. But then can you do that 30 minutes later after you've pitched? Can you do that 40 minutes later after they've said, this is really good, but can you just send it into an email and send me the details? Can you do this when they say, this is awesome, but I really want to run it by my partner just because we make all the decisions together? Can you do that? And the reason I ask you, the reason I'm challenging you if you can do that or not, is because you hold the responsibility for what happens next through the entire sales call. It's not just at the beginning. It's not just like moment number one, you get on the sales call, okay, great, it's time to sell, it's time to lead. No. After that, through the entire call, up until a payment is processed on Stripe, until they pay an invoice, you are still leading. So one of the things that helped me handle objections, and this, again, took me from being a closer who was at 10%, making 3, if 3K, not even 3K to be honest. It was like 2K a month, to being a closer who was closing at 35% on a really good offer, doing 10, 15K up to 18K per month. What took me there is an extreme ownership of responsibility. Read this book, Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink. Very interesting book. I've read like 75% of it. I didn't go through the whole thing, but Jocko Willink talks about extreme ownership. It's a very good book. And this idea is prevalent in how I sell. It's prevalent in how I teach our clients to sell. We have closers coming into our training, and when I train our closers, one of the first things we talk about is responsibility, and how you have the responsibility to take the prospect from where they are now to where they want to be in the future. Right? And that continues through objection handling. So if you're avoiding responsibility, if you're walking away from that responsibility, you're going to limit your income. The only way that you can actually make the money in sales, especially if you're on an offer that does have objections, which 90% of offers will, I don't care what the offer is, they will have objections. The only way you can do that and go from where you are now to where you want to be, the only way is by taking responsibility for the prospect's future at each level of the call. Not just the level of like, I'm here running a current state, I'm here doing a discovery, not that. It needs to be the entire process from very beginning to very end. And one of the way that I guess I would manifest this responsibility, what it looks like is it's me who holds the keys for the prospect's future. I specifically hold the key card or the key to the prospect's future and where they're going to be. And I fully accept that. I embody that on my sales calls. I embody that through my process of handling objections. And I go into objection handling realizing this, right? So what happens is when you shirk your objections and you haven't put in the work to become really good at objection handling, you're actually allowing the prospect to take that responsibility over their own future. But think about the paradox. The whole reason they're on the call is because they're trying to offload the responsibility of their future to someone else, which is your company. I'm not kidding. Straight up. The reason they're on the call is because they're trying to offload the responsibility of of what happens next to someone else. And this is not a negative, so don't put emotion in it like it's bad or good. No, it just is. They're trying to outsource that responsibility to someone else. Who is the responsibility going to lie on for the sales call? It's going to be you. So if you shirk that responsibility and don't fully take it on and fully embrace that responsibility through your entire process, yes, through objection handling, what's going to happen? You're going to be sabotaging yourself. You're sabotaging the prospect. Okay, that's the game. That's the truth. The fourth principle is timing. And this is something that a lot more advanced sales pros have a problem with. There's an offer that I'm managing right now, and I'm training the sales team. And one of the things that we're seeing is the people that are selling on a lot of these offers, on a lot of offers in this space, jump into objection handling too quickly. What I mean by that is this. I'll get a little technical here, so stick with me. Don't zone out. Okay. So what happens a lot of times is you may know some kind of basics of objection handling. Let's pretend someone says, great, this is a lot of money. This is a really simple one. Okay, you run, let's say, a biz op, helping people to resell cars. That's one that I've seen popping up in the industry. Or let's use a different one. You help people leave their gym, stop working in the gym and build something online, like an online presence. Okay, and help them go from in-gym trainer to building an online brand, having clients remote, having online clients, online course. Okay, that's the company you work for. You sell that offer. And let's say you talk to some chick named Jenny. She's like, oh, this sounds really good, but it's just more expensive than I thought it would be. Oh man. Okay. What a lot of more advanced sales pros will do, people who are kind of stuck at that, let's say that 5-6K mark, but who really can move past like 10, 15K. Okay. Those are the kind of people we train. What will happen, I've seen, is that they'll recognize that there is some kind of underlying objection. So they'll start off with, yeah, no worries. They diffuse, not a problem. Cool. And then what do we go to? Buy-in and double buy-in, as we call it, which is like, do you feel like we can help you? If you do, okay, why do you feel like it can help? We go to that. And then after that, what do we go to next? It's like, so tell me, when, in terms of like the price and the investment, is it a case like you have the funds for it, but it's like scary to invest it all, or you have like some of it and we need to break it into something more manageable, or what's going on there? Because you mentioned you didn't expect it would be a lot. Tell me about your thoughts on this. That's kind of a broad way of handling this. There's more specifics we normally do when we train, but this is an example. Okay. So maybe she'll say, oh, it was just a lot, but I do see the value of it. You reframe with her, like, you see it's an investment in yourself, right? Okay. And then what they'll do is they'll say, okay, so would anything else be coming up for you? Or is it kind of just a case of breaking it up? And then maybe she'll say, yeah, I'm just really busy and I have busy things coming up. I'm really busy. Okay. So now we're a level deeper now. Clearly, it's not just the objection about the money. It's not just the money because you've handled that. Now there's something else coming up. And now here's the mistake that a lot of sales pros make. You have two directions you could go from here. I'm going to get really nerdy, guys. So if you don't like the nerdy stuff and you just want entertainment, shut it off. This is not for you. But if you want to make more money, this thing I'm going to give you here is going to literally help you close better and make more money. Straight up. Okay? So what will happen is, this is the mistake a lot of closers make. Right here, you're at a crossroads. She says I'm busy. What a lot of closers will do is they'll immediately jump on the busy thing and talk about an analogy about being busy in life. They're like, well, life is busy. And when life is busy, you have to make a decision to be this person or that person. Too fucking early. It's a problem. It's too early. Why is it too early? Because you do not know the root of the objection. She's giving you a mask. Saying busy doesn't mean anything. Busy in what sense? Is it busy like you literally can't do this? Is it busy like you feel emotionally you're not going to be prepared to do this? You won't have the time, right? So the way I'll handle it, the right way to do it at an elite level would be, when you say busy, like, do you have like 2-3 hours a day to do this? Let's say 5 days a week. You don't need to do it every day, of course, but could you actually get better and start to invest in your future? Just give yourself 2-3 hours a day. Depending on that, if she says no, I'm going to figure out what's going on. Why can't she do it? Is she full of shit? Probably. Or is she actually so busy she can't do it, and we start her now and then pause until she's less busy? She still makes the payments, but, we give her some kind of extended time or something like that. Is that the case? Or is it a case that she actually does have the time, but there's some emotional fear coming up? Like, I'm not sure I'd be able to do this. I'm not sure I can do this right now at this point in my life because I never did something like this before. You see the difference? So what a lot of closers will do is they'll jump on the objection really, really fast. They'll like jump on it. Like, they'll go into an analogy on being busy and talk about mindset and all this stuff. It sounds cool. It sounds nice. But me as the trainer watching it and a consultant, I'm just like, no, you need to first figure out what's really going on and get one level deeper as to what the real objection is, and then smack it away. So what I would do is I'd say, when you say busy, what do you mean by that? Like, do you not have 2-3 hours a day? Let's say a lot of people will say, well, I do have the 2-3 hours a day. It's just I have a lot going on. My kids, I'm sending them to school, and there's a lot going on with our family right now. Okay, when you say a lot going on, like, what does that mean? Tell me what's going on exactly. So tell me what's going on. Let's say she says they just moved to a new apartment. Let's pretend they just moved. She says the kids are getting into a new school. I'm making it difficult for myself. The kids are going into a new school because of all that. Now I got something. Here we go. Now I have something. So the path I would take would be, yeah, that is a lot that you have going on. It kind of presents an interesting question. Like, you've got a lot. I'm role playing with myself, and then I'm gonna just move on. But I want you guys to see how I would do this. You know, the situation you're right now, where you have a lot going on. I suspect that in your life, you're always gonna have a lot going on. Like, you're a mom, right? Right now, you know what's interesting is you're in the gym. So you're in the gym, still going to the gym right now. You're putting in, how many hours do you say it was? Like 6 to 9, 10 hours a day, right? You're putting in the time now. So the truth is, Jenny, you're investing like negatively in your future because you're committing all that time now, and you're still going to do that either way, right? And then I know you're tired. You're a mom. I understand. I saw my mom growing up, and she took care of me and my sister, and that woman got tired. I know, right? And one of the regrets I have actually is at the time that I feel like she might have, even we've talked about this, is at the time that she's had that was extra time. She kind of didn't invest that in growing her own skill set and giving herself a better future. Now she's okay, of course. My dad takes care of her and all that, but there's a lot of opportunities she missed because she didn't spend that extra time she did have, kind of being the best version of her that she could be, that she would be able to enjoy now and have freedom. You know what I mean? So I guess the question for you, Jenny, would be like, while you are busy now, it's a fact you're busy. We're not discounting that. But while you're busy, like, I guess the version of you, let's say 2 years from now, who's still busy, does she want to be busy while having freedom online and then be able to invest that back into her family? Or does she not want that? Like, what does she want in her future? There we go. Now I'm speaking directly to who the prospect is, to who Jenny is, right? And I do this live. I'll share with you guys some of my live objection handling training sessions. You guys can see how I do it and see what it looks like, right? But that's an example. So the key that I want to share with you, and the reason I'm bringing this up to you, is because a lot of sales pros who are learning objections just jump into it way too fucking early. They get into the objection handling so early, like they jump on it so freaking early, and they miss the real objection. When I learned how to time my objection handling, when I learned how to time, and again, the whole process is objection handling, sure. But when I learned how to time, like when I really went for it, and when I really tried to smack objections out the way, when I timed that, and I learned to time it accurately and correctly, that's when my life changed. And I really mean my life. I'm not saying this is like a corny gimmick. My life changed when I learned how to time things. Because when I learned how to time it correctly, I began to handle the real objection that was at hand, not like the underlying surface level or the overarching mask that was being given to me. I could just handle the real objection. And the last thing, and if you're still here, I applaud you for listening. The last thing is protocols. It's knowing always where to go. And this is what I train our people. And the name of our coaching program is called Protocols. And I train sales pros in how to become elite level at sales. It's not some corny fucking like biz op. Like, come in and like learn sales and find the new gold rush and get this opportunity in the market. It's not. That's why we have a smaller program, because we don't reach out to just anybody who wants to just like make money in sales. It's like, if you want to get very good at sales, make way more money, I'm talking 10, 15K plus commissions months for most of our people inside. That's what we do. And the name of our program is called Protocols. I'm not selling it to you here. You have to be inside of our free group to even kind of apply to join it. So come to the free group. The link is down below. But the point that I want to break down is the idea of protocols. Like, you have to know where to go always. The protocol just means the process. It's the new fun, cool word for process. And I named our program after that because it means a lot to me. It's the process. In fact, I'm going to get the word protocols tattooed somewhere. Maybe I'll get it under here, maybe on the hand. I'm not sure where. I want something good. My neck is all kind of, I covered all that real estate already, so I got to find somewhere else. But protocols means knowing where to go. It's like always understanding where to go and always understanding what to do. The reason I'm able to sell at such a high level and close at such a high level and train our clients to close at such a high level, we just had a guy, Jabari, agency owner, going from 15% close rate when he came in to train with us, and now he's at 48% for the month. That's insane. It's more than triple, right? That's a 3x% plus close rate improvement. And his business is doing 10, 15K right now, MRR. Right, like consistently. He's not even a closer, he's an agency owner. The reason is because he knows the protocols. Sati, put a video with him on our channel. One of my top guys. And someone I consider a friend. He's a great dude. Sati, closing at an elite level, 12K plus comms per month. Why? Protocols. Amon, same. Colin, same. Kyrill, same. All these guys like that are killing it. Charlie, same. They're all mastering the protocols. It's like knowing where to go. To always knowing where to go. So the reason I was able to close so well is and handle objections is because I always knew where to go. I could get the protocols down anywhere I go, anywhere you catch me. You'll never catch me slipping on a call. because I always know the protocol. It doesn't mean you're going to close everyone, because you can't close everyone. It's impossible. But you can close at 40%. All right, you can close 45%. You can do that. That's an elite level of performance, and that's the game. That's what I want for you guys. Okay, so memorize the protocols and understand where to go. What I'll tell you is, if you want to learn the protocols, I have nothing to sell you here. Like I always say, it's just the truth. I don't sell on this channel. But if you want to learn my protocols, come to our school community. It's down below, and it's specifically for sales professionals who want to become elite at the game of sales, and who want to win, and you want to get to the next level. Like that's what it's for. So check out our protocols down below. I'll drop the link. It's inside of our school group, school.com/quantum level. And I basically break down literally how to handle objections at an elite level. We have free trainings there. It's all free. And it's literally equal to like $1,000 course. That's how much value we have. In fact, one of the objections we get on sales calls we have now is people are like, but I'm in the school community. It's all free. Yeah, the stuff inside of our paid program when you're literally training with me is substantially better and will change your life rapidly. But the stuff in our school community, the quantum level, the free group, is so good that people just feel like that's the main program. I'm like, no, there's a whole other world below it that you haven't even looked at. But get the free stuff. That's how good it is, right? It's massively helpful. We have a good group of people in there. Come through. It's free to join. Just click apply. There's not even apply. There's 3 questions to answer. We'll probably approve you if you're a sales pro. If you're not, and you're kind of just some guys doing weird stuff, and you answer the questions, we're not going to approve you. We have almost 600 requests pending. But otherwise, I'll let you go. Appreciate you. Hopefully this made sense. We are putting out the best sales content in the industry. And I look forward to more of these kind of talking head simple trainings. If you like them, let me know below if you like this format, and I'll continue this. Just had some thoughts on my mind I wanted to share. Goodbye. Take care. I will see you on the next one.